Om Shri Sai Ram, offering most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our ever-present Lord. Invoking Bhagwan's presence and benediction here today in this holy satsang, respected elders and dear brothers and sisters, my loving Sai Ram to all of you. Firstly, I offer this talk on the topic Seva without sadhana is a bondage and sadhana without seva is a burden at the divine lotus feet. Na tapansi na tirthanam na shastra japa nahi samsara sagarodhare sajjanam sevanam vina. Not through penance, not through pilgrimage, neither by chanting his name, nor by the study of scriptures, but by serving the humanity alone can one cross the ocean of this birth and death. This is what the scripture says. And we are all very well aware of Bhagwan's very famous quote, "The hands that serve are holier than the lips that pray." There are two key terms in this topic. The first one is seva and then sadhana. Firstly, we see the seva aspect. Long ago, a young teacher from Bhagwan's institution, he felt he was not progressing in his sadhana. He wanted to quit his job of teaching and go to Himalayas to do penance for what? To please Swami. So when he humbly submits this prayer of his at the divine lotus feet, this happened in Vrindavan long ago, Bhagwan draws his attention to a vast crowd assembled in Vrindavan to have at least a glimpse of Bhagwan's darshan. And then Swami points to a small piece of a thread from his robe sticking to one of his feet, and Swami says, if anyone from that vast crowd gets to touch even this thread piece, he would dance in ecstasy. And here I have given you an opportunity to be with me, serve me in my institution, and you want to throw this away and go to Himalayas? What for? Do your duty with devotion and dedication, that itself is the highest sadhana. The message was very clear to this young teacher. On another occasion, speaking to a group of lady teachers from Sri Sathya Sai Primary School, Swami said, "You are all asking me, Swami, please tell us some special puja. We want to do that puja to please you, Swami, to attain your grace. And I am telling you today, there is no need of any special puja. Whatever work I have given you, you do it as an offering to me. That itself is the highest puja." Isn't this what Lord Krishna declared in the Gita? Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Think of me and fight the battle. That is the path for you. These two incidents highlight the importance of seva in our lives. Now, what exactly do we mean by seva? Is it a duty, or is it just lending a helping hand to someone, or is it an obligation that is thrust on us? Swami says, seva is much more than all these things. This body is meant for the very purpose of serving others. What does this mean? It means seva is something which is natural to us. Seva is something which is innate, inherent within us, and seva is something which should flow spontaneously from us. The need of the hour has to be fulfilled through seva. It is not person specific, it is not material specific, it is not situation specific, it is very natural for us. The body is meant for this purpose. And we all know when it comes to seva, sadhana, whatever it may be, Bhagwan is our highest role model. He has declared, my life is my message. Once, a devotee was blessed to travel in a car with Bhagwan. Bhagwan was seated at the back and this particular devotee along with the driver in the front. Bhagwan offers 2 bananas to this devotee and says, keep one with you and give the other one to the driver. And very promptly, immediately the devotee takes the banana and tries to give it to the driver. Swami asks, what are you doing? His hands are occupied. How can he eat the banana? You peel the banana and feed him, then he can eat. Such is the spontaneity that we have to bring to every act of our seva. Students once pleaded with Swami, Swami, give us an opportunity to do seva. And Swami said, why are you asking me? Seva is your birth right. So seva is something which is innate within us, which has to be brought forth according to the need. See, if we see the word paropakara in the shloka, it repeats so many times. Is it just helping others or serving others? Or does Bhagwan explain this word paropakara in any special way? Yes, he does. He being the creator, he alone is capable of giving a deeper insight into anything and everything under the sun, isn't it? Swami says, paropakara is para plus upa plus kara. Para is divinity, upa is near, kara is to join. So seva should satisfy this purpose of taking us to God. So seva, we can say, is communion with God. That is why Swami would often tell us, real seva is to inquire as to who you are. We should get this highest wisdom through seva. It is communion with God. So let us leave seva at this and jump quickly to see what sadhana is. Swami says it is sa plus dhana. Sa is again divinity and dhana is wealth. When you acquire the divine wealth, it becomes sadhana. It means sadhana once again is communion with God. And Swami defines sadhana like this. True sadhana is merging the vak in the manas in the buddhi in the atma. When we are able to integrate our words into our mind, then the intellect and finally merge all these things in the atma, it becomes sadhana. That means acquiring divine consciousness is the purpose of sadhana. So we see both seva and sadhana serve the same purpose. And why then this topic? So let us go back to seva. Do all acts of ours qualify as seva? Or we can put it this way, or are there any principles with which seva has to be done? Are there any characteristics that make seva a seva? Swami says yes. They are unity, purity and divinity. What is this unity aspect? Swami would often tell us very beautifully, when a thorn pricks your foot, the whole body perceives the pain, the eyes start watering and the hand immediately rushes to pull out the thorn to relieve the suffering and the pain. See, when one part of the body feels the pain, it is but natural for all the parts to respond to this suffering. What does Purusha Sukta say? Brahmanosya mukhamasi bahu rajanya kritaha. Brahmanas form the face, the Kshatriyas the shoulders, the Vaishyas the thighs and so on. What does this mean? This entire universe is one body of God. So anyone in this universe, in the creation suffers, we have to feel this suffering and respond to this suffering. It is the feeling of unity in the creation. It is the feeling of oneness in the creation that we have to do seva. Swami would tell, Parulu Parulu Kadaya Paramatmude. There is no para, there is no other, there is no word called para. Everything, everyone is Paramatma. This is the unity principle that should be brought into our seva. Next, purity. Say we have arranged bhajans at home, and at the end of the spiritual session, we want to, offer Naivedyam to Bhagwan and distribute this food as prasadam to everyone. See, just think how much of efforts we put in to make this prasadam. We procure best of the ingredients and we use best of the utensils, and if it has to be, if the prasadam should be made in a large scale, we employ best of the cooks. And we take so much interest to do this because we are offering it to Bhagwan. The same way, if we can make it a habit to offer every thought, word and deed of ours to Bhagwan, how much of efforts we will be taking to purify that act so that it becomes a fit offering to Him. So it is with this feeling of purity as an offering to Bhagwan, we must do seva. The next aspect is divinity. There was a person called Malcolm Muggeridge, and he in fact was a great critic of Mother Teresa to begin with, and later he becomes her biographer. And Mother Teresa, as we all know, she is service that walked this earth. She is legendary for seva. We can say her name itself is synonymous with the word seva. Once this Malcolm Muggeridge happens to see Mother Teresa rescuing a badly wounded leper with full of pus oozing from all over the body from a gutter. And this person, with great disgust, he remarks, "I will not do it for $1 million. And what does Mother say? She very calmly replies, "I will not do it for $1 million either. Then what for you are doing? It is for my God I am doing. I see divinity in this man. For this purpose I am doing." This is the divinity aspect of seva. Next principle that has to be satisfied is selfless sacrifice, the spirit of sacrifice that we do seva with. 100 rupee contribution made by a higher secondary school student of Bhagwan who sacrificed his own comforts, did his own laundry and gave it to Bhagwan for the super specialty hospital in Prashanti Gram was worthy of being mentioned by Bhagwan. So are we able to come out of our comfort zones to help someone? This is the selfless sacrifice spirit that comes with seva. We can say this selfless sacrifice is the edifice on which our seva has to be built. We all know when the super specialty hospital here in Prashanti Gram was built in a time of just 6 to 7 months, and when someone suggested to Swami, this itself can become a case study for our MBA students, Swami said, "How did you think such a stupendous task was accomplished? Is it through principles of management?" Swami goes on to quote, "Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyage naike amritatva manashuhu." Not through progeny, action or wealth, but by sacrifice alone this was done, because only through sacrifice we can attain immortality. Next, the aspect of seva which I am talking is something which we all know just like the back of our hands, but we don't practice it most often. What is it? The amount of seva that goes on here in Bhagwan's institutions, Bhagwan's hospitals, which don't charge a penny, is not known to many people outside. The same way, the magnitude of Grama Seva that happens here during every Dasara, not many people are aware of it. Why? There is no publicity, there is no pomp and show, there is no propaganda. It means seva has to be done as silently as possible so that we can shun ego and doership, which can be a potential stumbling block on the path of seva. These are some of the golden principles with which seva has to be undertaken. So what should happen to us when we do seva following all these principles? We must realize what seva does to us is more important than what we do as seva. Seva is for redeeming our own lives. So there should be some changes in us visible, isn't it? What are these? Firstly, our ego gets humbled when we progress on the path of seva. Ego, we must remember, E-G-O, is edging God out. Wherever there is ego, there is no place for God. We cannot do seva for the sake of the divine when we do with ego. This should get humbled. There should be extinction of this ego. And next, when we identify one with others, we develop sensitivity. When sensitivity comes in, automatically selfishness goes away. And we must be able to experience the ananda, the bliss that seva gives. Though initially we may be reluctantly, with great hesitation, being goaded by others or under compulsion, we may start seva. But we ourselves, as we keep doing seva, we feel this self-satisfaction, we feel this bliss, and this experiencing the bliss is very important. Then finally, these things, what happens? There is self-transformation. What is self-transformation? It is transformation from dehabhimana, our identification with the body, mind and the intellect, into Atma Bhava, divine consciousness. This is the purpose for which seva has to be done, and this is the outcome we must get from seva. Okay? If we were to, do seva with all these principles and to get all this outcome, what is the primary requisite to do seva? What should we have? Of course, we have to invest our time, energy, money, manpower, material, coordination of so many things. All these are needed, practically speaking. But what is it without which seva is not seva? It is a pure heart full of love is what is needed. This is the primary basic prerequisite to do seva. So it is the attitude with which seva is done matters for us to derive full benefit from seva. So what is this attitude we are talking about? It is an attitude of love, compassion, humility, sacrifice. It is an attitude of gratitude because it is for us, for our own self we are doing. And it is an attitude of respect and reverence for the recipient of the seva. And how does all this come? Where does all this come from? Does it come to us overnight? Is love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never so easy for us? Oh, this is where sadhana steps in. Sadhana prepares one with the right attitude to do seva so that we derive maximum benefit from seva. Swami says, how does sadhana help? This is how Swami explains. Swami says, sadhana removes our weaknesses. What are these weaknesses? We are all under the firm control, firm grip of the Arishad Vargas, the 6 inner enemies, isn't it? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. If all these things have to go, if we have to overcome all these things, all these weaknesses, We have to pray to him incessantly. We have to hold on to his lotus feet. We must sing his glory. We must understand his teachings and put them into practice. We must contemplate. We should engage in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. What is all this? This is all sadhana. So sadhana removes our weaknesses. Next, Swami says, sadhana modifies our samskaras. What are these samskaras? See, at any given point of time in our present birth, our actions are determined by the samskaras, the innate tendencies we carry from many, many, many births. To just, simply explain what a samskara is. Whatever we think, whatever we speak or do, all that leaves a deep, indelible impression in our subconscious. And this process goes on day after day and birth after birth, and the sum total of all these impressions together form the samskaras with which we are born. So in our present birth, if our thoughts, if our actions have to be purified, we have to purify our negative samskaras, and sadhana fulfills this purpose. Next, Swami says, sadhana strengthens our soul so that we are able to avoid the potential pitfall on the path of seva or karma yoga. What is it? As I already said, it is pride and self-aggrandizement. Only through relentless systematic sadhana we can get rid of this pitfall on the path of seva. Otherwise, we will be doing seva for the sake of 3 P's: profit, popularity, and power. That's it. So this is where we need sadhana to do seva. A group of students from Vrindavan campus had come to Prashanti Nilayam, and they were involved in laddu making, prasadam making. And one fine evening, Swami walks into their dorm and asks them, "How many laddus did you prepare today?" And they quote certain number. Swami says, "This is much less than what Anantapur girls have made today." And the same thing happens. Next day, Swami asks the same question, and the boys reply something, and Swami gives the same reply. "Oh, this is much less, they have made much more than you." So the boys get into a frenzy, day in and day out. They are just churning out laddus. They are not caring for anything else. Their sole interest is making laddus and to defeat the Anantapur girls in terms of the number of laddus. So this happens a few days, and Swami tells the same thing. So these boys are perplexed. How come we have prepared so many laddus and Bhagwan doesn't seem to acknowledge, and Anantapur girls are always defeating us? What is this? After intense prayers to Bhagwan and contemplation, they realize Anantapur girls were making laddus with love and devotion for Bhagwan, chanting his name and singing his glory through bhajans. Whereas the boys whose concentration only on this competitive spirit to outnumber the girls in terms of the number of laddus made, they had just done it mechanically without caring for the attitude with which laddus were prepared. So every single laddu made by the girls was much more than many laddus prepared by these boys who had done it mechanically without offering it to Bhagwan. See, dear brothers and sisters, God doesn't care for numbers. He cares for the attitude with which we do every small thing. Actually, there is no small or big in His eyes. It is the attitude with which we do and offer it to Him. And no wonder the boys who had indulged in this laddu making just with competitive spirit, rajasic tendencies, just to get, this competitive spirit, no wonder they ended up being the losers. So the lesson for us here is, An act of service done without an attitude of prayer, gratitude to the Lord and love and devotion to the Lord becomes just a karma that binds us, that increases our bondage, whereas the same act of service done with an attitude of prayer, gratitude as an offering to Lord with love and devotion, it is transformed into karma yoga that liberates us. And that is why the first half of the topic, seva without sadhana, is bondage. See, when we say it is the love that is primarily required for seva, not necessarily through deeds, even through thought and word, we can do seva, isn't it? I am in no way discounting or belittling the seva done through deeds, but it is just to highlight certain subtle aspects of seva which are often not recollected. See, if we pray for others, when we chant Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu, the universal prayer, or when we speak kindly, obligingly to someone, it is all seva. Our entire life process should become seva like this. See, once a student of Bhagwan pleads with Swami, Swami, I am far away from you, I am not able to take part in your divine mission. And Swami assures him, just believe in my mission, just believe in the success of my mission, that is the highest seva one can do. These are all some of the subtle aspects of seva. If Rudram chanting is made mandatory in Prashanti Nilayam every morning and evening, it is a seva, isn't it? The divine vibrations sanctify the atmosphere and remove negativity from the atmosphere. And this is a seva of highest order. See, even when it comes to Bhagwan mission, one is immediately reminded of the mega socio-care, educare and the Medicare projects which are there for everyone to see. Yeah, by themselves they are highest role model for the whole world to emulate. But the subtlest aspect of Bhagwan's contribution to us, Bhagwan's gift, not even contribution, not seva, I would say gift to us is, what about the wisdom that he has been imparting to us? He has elevated our level of consciousness from mere human to near divine. Is it not his highest contribution to mankind? He says, I am God, so are you, but you have not realized it as yet. So you have to work towards that through seva and sadhana. After all, this is the purpose for which avatarana happens, avatar comes. Avatarana is the descent of Godhead for the ascent of mankind. This, I would say, is highest contribution of Bhagwan to us. Highest gift, because there are millions of people all around the world who have not even had, a single darshan of Bhagwan in his physical form, but they are transformed by his teachings. They are doing so much of seva and sadhana all over the world. And this, I feel, is his highest gift to us, and this, I feel, is our highest fortune. A week before Lord Krishna leaves his physical body, he calls Uddhava and says, Uddhava, in 7 days from now, I won't be here. I will leave my mortal coil. But you have to carry on with my mission and you have to spread my message. And Uddhava is naturally grief-stricken and he holds on to the lotus feet of the Master and says, Master, please don't leave us and go away. We cannot bear the separation. And what does Krishna reply? Uddhava, this is my problem also. People call me omnipotent, Sarva Shakta, but the only thing I am not capable of is I cannot bear separation from my devotees. Then the Lord goes on to say, but this body is one among many which I have donned to uplift this humanity. We all know Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. From time again he has to reincarnate to re-establish the Dharma. So this body I have to live one day or the other and I am doing it now. But I would continue to live in the consciousness of those who are devoted to me. This is the assurance that Lord Krishna gives. And my dear brothers and sisters, isn't it what our beloved Bhagwan has chosen to do today? He continues to live within us, in our hearts, and it is up to us to look inward, seek Him inside, derive guidance from Him, practice His teachings so that we are able to tell Him, Swami, karishye vachanam tava, we shall abide by thy dictates, as Arjuna promises Krishna in the Gita. So our focus should shift from form outside to form within. When the physical form of Bhagwan was there, darshan was meditation. When we see this beautiful form in orange robe, we would lose ourselves. It was meditation for us. We would just drink in His beauty, isn't it? But now what has happened? Meditation is darshan. We have to close our eyes, look inwards and seek Him inside. Sai, we must remember, S-A-I is see always inside. For this, what we need is the sadhana with an intensity, with the pining, with the yearning of a drowning man gasping for a single breath of air to survive. This is what we need today, and this is why our sadhana has to be strengthened many folds so that we can access this Antaryami God. See, when it comes to sadhana, Bhagwan is very compassionate, merciful. He has given us so many sadhanas. Or the 9-point code of conduct is full of sadhanas. There is daily meditation, prayer, bhajan singing, Nagar Sankirtan, Satsang, regular study of Sai literature. All these are sadhanas, and not to forget Namasmarana, which is the simplest and the highest, most effective sadhana. Wherever we are, whatever we are doing, we can do this Namasmarana. We don't need any special qualification for this. But even on the path of sadhana, there is a caveat. What is this? A lady devotee comes to Bhagwan and says, Swami, I have completed so many books of Likhita Nama Japa. I am writing Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram several hundred times every day. And Swami smiles and says, oh, your handwriting would have considerably improved with this. That's all. So this should not happen to us. Which means sadhana should not become a mundane mechanical ritual. We should every moment of our sadhana remind ourselves of Baba, B-A-B-A. Be aware, be alert. Sadhana should be done with complete awareness, and sadhana should be done with intensity, and there has to be consistency in our sadhana. I cannot say 2 days I meditate, that is enough. I have completed the purpose of sadhana, I have got everything. No, I cannot afford to give excuses. Sadhana should be a lifelong process done with intensity, consistency and full awareness. So I think we have covered the first half of the topic, and let us come to the second half. That is, how does Seva complement sadhana? The incident I am going to narrate now, I know you are all aware of it just like the back of your hands, but still I want to tell you this because it is important for the topic. Once a very famous and ardent devotee of Bhagwan, a dental surgeon by profession, Dr. Fanibanda, asks Bhagwan, Swami, what is the purpose of, what is the role of Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization in your mission, in your divine mission? Swami says, nothing. Nothing, Swami? Then why then such a big organization spread across the world in so many countries, more than even 190 countries? Swami says, I have given this organization to you for your chitta shuddhi. What does the scripture say? Chittasya shuddhaye karmaha. Karma or seva cleanses our heart, it purifies our heart. An old grandfather who has a grandson, he wants his grandson to engage in seva, to involve himself in seva from a very young age. So he calls and explains to him about seva and tells him, you must participate in seva. The grandson is very reluctant to take up seva, and he asks the grandfather, what is the use of this seva? The grandfather takes a basket, gives it to the grandson, and he says, go to the nearby river, fetch water in this basket, bring back and fill this bucket with water. The boy agrees and dutifully goes to the river, collects water in the basket, and on his way back, to his dismay, he finds out there are holes in the basket. It cannot hold any water. So even after several trips back and forth to the river, he is not able to fill the bucket. So he comes and tells grandfather, he's fed up. He says, what is this, grandpa? How can I fill the bucket, carrying water in this basket? It is a futile exercise. It is useless. Why do you ask me to do this? Then the grandfather says, how was the basket when I gave it to you? Oh, grandpa, the basket was so dirty, filthy, it had turned brown and it had lost its white color. And son, and dear child, now how does the basket look like? Oh, the basket looks so clean, so beautiful. It has got back its sparkling white color. The grandfather says, there you are. This is what seva does to you. Without you being aware of it, without your knowledge, seva cleanses your heart, and that is why I keep telling you, please do seva, please do seva. So coming to the Chitta Shuddhi aspect, how does Chitta Shuddhi help in our path of seva or Karma Yoga? As we all know, there are three gunas, the Tamo Guna, the Rajo Guna and the Sattva Guna. Tamo Guna, when we see the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga in the Gita, it defines Tamo Guna with so many terms. It is laziness, it is indolence, it is sloth, it is inertia, it is heedlessness, whatnot. And Rajo Guna is characterized by passion, restlessness, and all the vagaries of the mind come under Rajo Guna. Sattva is purity personified. So accordingly, we have three types of karmas according to the gunas. The tamasika karmas, the rajasika karmas, and the sattvika karmas. What is a tamasika karma? A tamasika karma is one which is aimed at hurting others or harming others. Even if I lose one of my eyes, it doesn't matter, but my enemy should become completely blind. This is the attitude with which a tamasika karma is done. A rajasika karma is one, it no doubt benefits us, but it is again at the cost of others. Hook or crook, I want this fame, I want name, I want popularity. This is the rajasika karma. Whereas sattvika karma is one which is aimed at benefiting the mankind. As the scriptures say, Atmano mokshartham jagat hitayacha. Sattvika karma gives us self-emancipation, and it also benefits the world at large. The welfare of the humanity is taken care of through a sattvika karma. As we progress on the path of seva, as our chitta shuddhi becomes more and more, the tamasika karmas become nullified. We don't think of hurting others. Our rajasika karmas become minimized, and our sattvika karmas become maximized. So we can say, when we have this much of sattva, purity in us, our sadhana also becomes more effective and more intense. See, to desist from doing a good karma is tamoguna, isn't it? When we do a karma with an eye on the fruit of action, I am going to get something out of this in return, that is rajoguna. Whereas to renounce the fruit of action is sattvaguna. So a karma yogi works not for happiness that the result brings, but he works out of happiness. That work, that karma itself gives him happiness. So he is happy doing this karma without thinking of anything else. And this is the highest karma, the nishkama karma. And we all know the highest form of nishkama karma is seva. When we do seva with all those principles of unity, purity, divinity, selfless sacrifice, all these things. And what does such a nishkama seva do to us? Why is it to us? It is important because it attracts the grace of Bhagwan. Only seva can earn us this grace of Bhagwan. And what does grace do? Swami says, and I humbly quote, the grace of God is like an insurance that helps you in times of need without any limit. He is so compassionate, so merciful, boundless, limitless, His grace is towards us. And how do we get this grace? It is only through seva. And what does grace do to us? Swami says, when you give an injection of morphine to a patient with cancer, morphine will not, change the cancer pathology, but it will relieve him of the pain and suffering that he is going through. The same way, grace of Bhagwan mitigates the magnitude of the suffering that we have to go through because of the consequences of our past misdeeds. As Swami keeps telling us, everything is reaction, reflection and resound. We reap what we sow. But when we have grace in these bad, lean times of ours, the suffering is minimized. The magnitude of this is mitigated by the grace of Bhagwan. That is how it decreases our karmic burden, and that is why the second half of the topic, seva without sadhana, is a burden. When Vibhishana comes and tells Hanuman, like you, I am also a big devotee of Rama. Like you, I incessantly keep chanting the name of the Lord. But how is it you are eligible for so much grace and not me? What does Hanuman say? Hanuman says, it is not enough if you merely chant the name of the Master. But you have to be of service to the Master. Guru seva bina nirvana nahi. In our journey from Koham to Soham, Bhagavan says, Dasoham is the first step. This Hanuman, who identifies himself as Dasoham Kosalendrasya, when Ravana asks him of his identity, the same Hanuman, when Rama asks him, Hanuman, who are you? He says, Deha bhavena dasoham. When I think of myself as the body, I am your dasa. Jiva bhavena tvadamshakaha. When I think of myself as the individual soul, I am a spark of you. But atma bhavena tvamaiva aham. When I consider myself as the highest soul, Atma, I and you are one. And to reach this stage, we need the state of Dasoham, Seva, and this is why Seva, we say, Seva, what Seva does to us is more important than what we do as Seva. So now we understand we need both. We need both karma and bhakti, we need both seva and sadhana. We have to synthesize the two. It is an integrated, the middle path of both, what we have to involve ourselves in. Swami says the tamoguna can be overcome only through karma yoga seva, which gives us chitta shuddhi. And the rajoguna, which is the restlessness or the agitation of the mind, can be overcome only through bhakti yoga. By doing sadhana, we get chitta ekagrata. Only when we focus our mind on Him, the agitation, the wavering of the mind ceases. So we need chitta ekagrata also if we have to go on the path of gnana, which is the next one. As we all know, the path of The Ajnana or ignorance has three components: Mala, Vikshepa and Avarana. What is Mala? It is the impurities of the mind. And Swami says to get rid of these impurities of the mind, we need Karma Yoga, Seva. And the Vikshepa is the fickleness of the mind, the wavering, the agitating mind. For this we need Bhakti Yoga or Sadhana. And Avarana, which is the deep-seated ignorance, of course, can be overcome only by acquiring the highest wisdom, Jnana. So both Karma and Bhakti, both Seva and Sadhana are needed for us if we have to spiritually progress. So when we combine the both of these, we can say Sadhana is the root, Seva is the fruit. Sadhana to see God inside. When we pray or meditate, we look inwards to seek Him, and Seva to see God outside. Serve men till you see God in all men. This is what is said. And Sadhana to realize the unmanifest God. Seva to realize the manifest God. The Purusha Sukta says, Padosya Vishwa Bhutani. Only 1/4 of the glory of the Lord is manifest, for to realize which we need Seva. Tripadasyam Ratan Divi. The rest 3/4 is latent, unmanifest, hidden, for which we have no alternative but to do sadhana. If we have to get light in an electric bulb, the bulb has to be connected to the source of power. If we say the source of power is God, if light is the seva, sadhana is the connecting cord between the two. Stronger the sadhana, brighter the light. This is how seva and sadhana complement each other. A professor in Bhagwan's university, he wanted to do sadhana, and he tenders his resignation. He gives 3 months notice. And Bhagwan comes to know of it and asks and calls him and asks him, what is the sadhana you want to undertake? Oh Swami, I want to engage in self-inquiry, Atma Vichara. So being in the university, teaching the students, taking care of my worldly duties, I have no energy or time left or focus left for Atma Vichara. That is why I want to resign. See, he says, I cannot take care of my worldly duties because I am concentrating on my spiritual progress. And Swami very sternly warns him, if you segregate your duties like this is my worldly duty, this is my spiritual duty, then I will not grant you even in 1,000 births, it is not years, 1,000 births, what you are seeking from me. I have appointed you to take care of my students. They are my property. These are the instruments with which I want to cleanse the society. And I want you to make them good. I want you to groom them. So make them good. Make me happy. Then I will grant you what you seek even through Atma Vichara. So what is the lesson for us? It is the attitude of hands in the society, head in the forest, as Bhagwan often tells us, is what we need. Even as we are engaged in our day-to-day worldly duties, which should be a seva actually. Our focus should be on the ultimate goal of human life. As Swami says, you are born in order to learn how not to be born again. For this we need both seva and sadhana. The attitude with which we do everything in our life, every mundane act can be divinized or spiritualized by chanting his name and by having the awareness of Bhagwan that he is with us. For him we are doing this, be it seva or sadhana. So Swami says it is like a ladder. A ladder has two poles on either side with rungs in between, isn't it? These two poles are the karma and bhakti on either side. The rungs or the steps of karma. Take one step at a time on these rungs of karma. As you ascend these steps of karma, both bhakti and jnana will proportionately increase. Karma is like a river that flows between the banks of bhakti and jnana. Without these two banks, the river can cause havoc. And without the river, these banks are of no use. And let us just quickly look at certain guidelines from the Gita which tell us how to practice both seva and sadhana with the right spirit. The first one is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Yoga is union with God. What is Karmasu Kaushalam? Excellence in action is yoga. Why should we strive for excellence in our action? When we strive for excellence in action, whatever we do, we can make it as a fit offering to Bhagavan. Bhagavan will be pleased with that. We will be taking in so much of efforts to purify that act. That is why we have to strive for excellence in action. Swami would often tell us, there is, nothing great in doing what you like, but what you are required to do, you have to like it and do it as an offering to Him. So when we strive for this excellence, what happens? The next statement, Tat Kurushva Madarpanam, offer all your actions to me, Arjuna. So we will be making a fit offering of all our thoughts, words and deed to Bhagwan. So when we offer everything to Him, the onus is on Him. There is no karma phala, there is no fruit of action accrued. Everything is anugraha phala, His grace. Whatever He gives, we are ready to receive. We are doing everything as naivedyam and we are getting everything as His prasadam. Then the next stage comes, that because of this we go to the next stage. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. We are not bothered about the fruit of action, the outcome of action. Everything is His blessing, His prasadam, His anugraha for us. So when we are ready to accept everything as prasadam, when we develop this prasada buddhi, what happens? Next is samatvam yoga uchyate. We develop equanimity. It is our ability to transcend the dvandvas, the dualities of life, the pain and pleasure, honor, dishonor, loss, gain, praise, censure, whatever it may be. As the Gita says, Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. We are able to do this, accept His will unconditionally. So we are in a better position to go through the thick and thin of life with balanced mind, without grumbling, without asking, why did you give this to me, Swami? Why not this, Swami? All these things, without blaming others, without passing on the buck to others. We accept His will unconditionally. We obey Him implicitly. And for this, what is the simplest recipe that Bhagwan gives us to develop this equanimity? Swami says, recognize the divine hand behind every happening, then you will not grieve or exult over any situation. Whatever happens, happens for my highest good. This is the path for me. He knows what is best for me. And when we do this, what do we become? We become nimitta matram bhava savyasachi. O Arjuna, be my instrument, that's it. It is said, it is only through an egoless instrument that does the divine orchestra play. So, to be a hollow flute in His hands so that He can blow His breath through us is the highest state of blessedness one can ask for, isn't it? There is nothing more than this. And all this, whatever we discuss today, Bhagwan puts it in a nutshell in this beautiful quote. Bhagwan says, and I humbly quote, "Hear all, say nothing. Give all, take nothing. Then bear all, do nothing. Serve all, be nothing. Nimitta matram." So the take-home message from the talk here today, if I were to put it in 2 words, I would say, what Seva does to us is more important than what we do as Seva. And to do this kind of Seva, we need relentless, systematic sadhana. See, I am sitting and meditating in the morning. A patient comes and knocks at my door. I cannot say, this is my sadhana time, you come later. Where does such a sadhana take me? So I need to adequately combine both. I need to do what should be done according to the need of the other hour, be it seva or sadhana. Otherwise, I am increasing my own bondage, my own karmic burden, isn't it? So, the take-home message, coming back to the message, I would say, we have to be calmly active and actively calm. Being calmly active is seva. Being calmly active is sadhana, and we need to be both. So, dear brothers and sisters, let us all pray to Bhagwan to give us the right understanding, to give us the courage, conviction, and also the humility to practice, to tread the path of both seva and sadhana, so that we can be worthy of his love and grace. And is there anything in this world that his grace cannot give us? Mukhaṁ karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim, yat kripatamaham vande paramananda sai madhavam. His grace can make the mute speak, the lame climb the mountain, and it alone can confer on us Paramananda, the supreme happiness. And with deepest sense of gratitude, I thank Bhagwan for this humble opportunity of sharing some of his teachings here today in this august assembly. This is truly an august gathering. I know there are so many here who have taken both seva and sadhana to unfathomable heights and depths. And I am humbled to speak here today in front of all of you to share his teachings. And I also thank P.R.O. Murli sir and his team for the satsang. And I am grateful to every one of you for your patient listening. Jai Sai Ram. We shall conclude with the universal prayer, Samasta Lokaha, and the Shanti Mantra. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om